I'm very pleased to say we're joined by Alexios Matsalis. Now, he is the Director of International Fact-Checking Network at the Poynter Institute. Thank you for joining us today. And first of all, you are involved, of course, with Facebook in helping tackle what has been deemed fake news. How will you play a role in all of this?
So, involved may be a big word. The Poynter Institute has, through its International Fact-Checking Network, developed a code of principles for nonpartisan, independent fact-checkers. And Facebook decided that in order to be a third-party fact-checker on the social network, you, as a minimum condition, you will have had to sign on to our code of principles.
And so Facebook is the arbiter of who is a third-party fact-checker?
Correct. Signing on to this code of principles, which requires transparency of all kinds, is a necessary but not sufficient condition to be a third-party fact-checker on Facebook.
And many people and those signed up to the International Fact-Checking Network had been pushing for Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook to take these steps. Are the steps that have been announced enough in your mind's eye?
You know, we are in the very early days. I hope you don't think I am dodging the question, but the reality is we're going to have to wait and see a few weeks how this works out. I think, obviously, there's been a lot of pressure on Facebook to do something. Now it has acted. We need to see how this works out in practice. In theory, we think it's a welcome choice, but it may or may not be effective.
In terms of where it could initially be tackling those stories that are obviously false, but the more misleading articles potentially that become rampant across social media and in fact catch wildfire, do you think that will be able to be blunted to some extent? Will we see those sorts of misleading stories pushed down?
I think it is important, especially in the first stages, and I think both Facebook and the third-party fact-checkers are very aware of this, that the concentration be on the 100% totally fake, fabricated stories. You know, the Pope endorsing Donald Trump. Those stories are the ones that did really, really well by the social network this year. And those are the start of where the fact-checking can have an effect. I think when we start going into the grayscale and the half-truths, it will be more complicated, and there are other platforms to do that. I am convinced that this experiment could have already a very beneficial impact if it weeds out the totally fake stories.
And how important is this as we enter 2017? We have had the US election in 2016. We have Germany, France, the Netherlands, a wide range of political events happening next year. How is the Poynter Institute preparing itself?
I mean, I would add in the elections of this year as well, the Brexit campaign, the Italian election. I myself am Italian. In these campaigns, we have seen a lot of totally fake stories do really well on social media. In the Italian case, it was ballot boxes allegedly stuffed and 500,000 votes found in an imaginary town, and that was one of the most engaged with stories on Facebook. So I think this is a problem of international scope, and I believe that Facebook is looking to roll this out internationally. Of course, the Poynter's International Fact-Checking Network has members from across the world, and they are all eager and keen to see this rolled out cautiously and carefully, but in other markets beyond the United States too.
And should other media or large social networking companies be adopting this? Is Facebook in the eye of the storm? What about the likes of Google and its unit YouTube? How are other social media giants potentially tackling this?
So Google announced earlier this year the introduction of a fact-check tag in its Google News service. I think it is looking at ways to help more accurate information surface to the top in search. It too, of course, famously had that problem after the elections with a false story about Donald Trump actually winning the popular vote, reaching the very top. I think the particularity of the Facebook algorithm that turbocharges things that were shared, commented, and liked, regardless of their accuracy, made it particularly important for the social network to intervene. But I am sure that that the other big tech platforms are looking at this. That is a crucial challenge of our times. How do we maintain our online information ecosystem as accurate as it is possible?